Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my thoughts on King's Fall, the remastered raid that just came out, and what I think of it, my impressions, and day one experiences, etc, etc. So overall, King's Fall is a great improvement just like its Vault of Glass counterpart. There's a lot of great improvements that need to be made, and they were made, but also it is held back by the fact that it is a D1 raid, and some of its mechanics just are flat out still not that exciting, but there were enough changes in my opinion to make it a bit more exciting, or as exciting as you can make it without completely changing the encounter totally flat out. So just like Vault of Glass, but this is King's Fall, and King's Fall is already a pretty good raid, so the fact that it's even better now, it's really, really awesome. So the visuals are, again, really good. I know this is Destiny 2, there's a new lighting engine, all that, blah, 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 but just compared to D1, it is so much better. Like, the spaceship area is insane. Looking at Saturn, also insane. Just the whole thing I really like, especially the changes to the lighting. I think that really carried the visual end of things. So I also do like that the red border chest returns. It was introduced in Val the Disciple, and we weren't really sure if it was going to be a mainstay, but this pretty much all but confirms that red border chests are going to be in the raid, every raid, for the rest of all time. Also, secrets are really fun. I really like how the Touch of Malice catalyst is tied to the basketball court of Oryx. It's really fun, really creative. I really like these puzzles. It's really fun, but it's also a really big time sink. So I would recommend doing this blind. I would not recommend this looking up a guide, because it's a lot more fun blind, but if you do have a guide and you're messing up, it's a lot more frustrating. So do this blind. I also recommend that with gardens, divinity puzzle, all that, blah, blah, blah. Let's go on to the actual raid. So the door opening section, or the portal opening section, I mean, not much has changed, but it also didn't really need to. I don't really imagine much changing here. I know that the doors are slightly different, like it's a blight instead of just a flat out invisible wall thing, but pretty much flat out it's the same thing, and it didn't really need to change. I really don't see a way that this could have changed in any way, other than how the Triumph challenges work, but that's for another time. And it goes for the same with the jumping puzzle, like the spaceship area. It's all really cool, but also it's like, what really could you do to change this, you know? I guess maybe a way to not let people skate across the entire thing? I don't know. But let's go on to the actual encounters, and we're going to start off with totems. Totems needed the most changes, and it did get pretty much the most changes that I can think of. And I really like these changes. I really like how everyone's involved, but I still wish it was a little bit faster. It can be exciting if the tension is high and people are messing up and all that sort of stuff, but if everything's going straight forward and everyone's in the same like ballpark of what's going on, it still is kind of boring, because, you know, it's just a well-oiled machine, everyone's doing their part, and everyone's working together. I do like how you do have to basically solo the totems now. That's pretty cool. And also the fact that you have to kill enemies to get Death Singer's power. And I think this is where the crux of the problem is. The enemies are what dictate how fast your encounter goes. So if you're not getting a lot of Death Singer's power, then it can seem really boring and take a lot longer. But also too many enemies, and what's already a really weird encounter for people to mess up on can cause even more screw-ups. So I'm not really sure, maybe more enemy density, but also the day one would be a shit show. Who knows? But totems, it's about as good as it can get. It's still kind of the same as in VOG, when that first sort of encounter area was changed, like defending the towers and the oracles and all that. how that was changed. You know, it's not, you couldn't really do much with it, but what they did do, in my opinion, was a lot better. So moving on to War Priest. War Priest is pretty mid. I like the mechanical changes, but we'll get more into this in the contest mode section. The health gating is really, really stinky. It's not health gating per se, it's just the health of War Priest, and we'll talk about it more in the contest section. Golgoroth is perfect. I love Golgoroth. It reminds me of Riven, it reminds me of Shirochi. This, I know exactly what Datto is talking about now when this is one of his favorite raid encounters. Golgoroth, when you're actually doing it the way that it's intended, is perfect. I think this is one of the best raid encounters ever. And I love that you're punished for not using all the orbs. It's amazing. So, Golgoroth, perfect, S tier, double S tier, best part of the raid, IMO. So, the dick wall, nothing much has changed. It's still the dick wall. You can still go to the Court of Oryx. So, yeah, just moving on to the sisters. The sisters are still the daughters of Oryx, but one thing that I really do like is the changes to the plate mechanics. This is an amazing change in my opinion. I really do like it, but, you know, it's still the sisters encounter. It's still over in like a minute and a half. It's still really quick, but again, like everything else, they did the best they could for this D2 remaster. I don't see anything else they possibly could have done, but maybe we'll see more on Master Mode or something, I don't know. Oryx. Fattest W of the entire raid. The fact that you DPS Oryx is just awesome. I love it. And again, the plates from the Daughters encounter still stay, and the final stand also just an amazing last little thing. I love just the fact that you can damage Oryx is just incredible. So that's pretty much the gist of the whole raid and all the changes. I'm not really sure what else to cover, but we're gonna move on to the contest mode now. So contest mode, this was a good one for me. So this was my first time getting a day one clear. And I know there's gonna be a lot of elites that are like, oh, well, that's because this was the easiest day one-er, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, dude. So the biggest struggle we had was War Priest. And I think this is a lot of people's struggles. And you could see it in the statistics, because Bungie posted statistics for the day one race. War Priest was the biggest L. The amount of damage this guy needed was literally insane. I don't know what else you're supposed to do. We somehow killed him by the skin of our teeth, and just barely we made it. So War Priest, it really brings a frustrating aspect to contest mode, and that is everyone has perfect execution, but literally we only wipe because we lost ammo, or we ran out of ammo, or we just straight up didn't get any ammo to begin with. This ammo economy thing in a day one raid this needs to go. This happened in Caretaker, this happened with Rulk, this happens with everything. This happened with Atheon. Literally, our teams had perfect execution on Rulk, we just couldn't get enough ammo, and it was so frustrating to get to the final stand. It's like, oh, we ran out of ammo and we used our supers, so we're just using primary now. Hope a Wither Horde kills them. Nope, screw you, you didn't get the day one clear. It's the same thing with War Priest. I don't know what needs to happen with this boss damage gating or this extreme health bar, but anything needs to be done about this. I can prove just how atrocious the War Priest was. We spent approximately the same amount of time on War Priest as the rest of the entire raid combined. We spent a total of 6 hours on War Priest and 6 hours on pretty much the rest of the raid. Now, in total, it took about 13 hours for us to complete it, but, you know, that was just a lot of taking breaks, moving between the encounters, so it does add up. But the fact that we spent the same amount of time on War Priest as the rest of the day 1 raid combined, something needs to happen. We should not have spent 6 hours on the War Priest. The rest of the raid took like 3, barely. We spent about an hour on Golgoroth, about half an hour on the Sisters because the Warcliffe coil thing was discovered around this time. And then Oryx basically took us like 5 tries. I'm not even kidding. The War Priest, this is the prime example of why a lot of people are being burnt out on day 1 raiding. I'm certainly I was about to quit. I was so frustrated. But then we got the day 1 clear, so I'm hooked back into the high of day 1 raiding again for Lightfall. But if this happens in Lightfall, I don't know what else to do. We're just gonna everyone has to copy Salta Greppo because apparently he was doing like normal mode damage on day 1. So everyone's just gonna have to do what he does, I guess. Aeons shouldn't be the solution to this, but apparently it was. We had 2 people running Aeons on both left and right side, and they were barely giving us full heavy ammo each run. And especially when you get it over to the taken enemies, my god, that is so fast, you just don't have enough time to recuperate and get more ammo. What were you supposed to do here? I have no idea. So I don't know what the solution is, but it can't be, oh, just strap on Aeons and hope you win, forehead. Other than that, King's Fall, overall, a big W. I do need a bit more time, but it might be in the top 3 or 4. Either slightly better or worse than Vow of the Disciple. It's much better than the D1 version, but it still won't be able to crack the mighty top 2 of Last Wish and Wrath of the Machine. So, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, Wrath of the Machine will come back, and we'll see how that goes. That'll be the ultimate test, in my opinion. Is the Destiny 1 Wrath of the Machine gonna be better or worse than Destiny 2's version? I'm not sure, but I guess in time we'll find out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.